Championship gets underway, and over goes Dunn in the first 6 seconds. One right hand.
Joe Bugner v Richard Dunn back in October 1976. Tonight, live and exclusive to Sky Sports, Lennox Lewis and Derek Williams will contest the British, European and Commonwealth heavyweight titles for the first time since Bugner fought Dunn.
Dunn again, third time, and this time he'll never make it.
Lennox Lewis is knocking at the door of the world heavyweight crown. Some governing bodies have him ranked number 4 in the world, some number 3. Tonight, live from the Royal Albert Hall, Lennox puts his British and European titles on the line against the Commonwealth champion, Derek Sweet D Williams. They're calling it all or nothing. Welcome to ringside. We're here at the Royal Albert Hall for Lennox Lewis against Derek Williams, a fight the press have labelled all or nothing. We're expecting a near-capacity crowd for this triple title showdown with the British, European and Commonwealth heavyweight titles on the line. In fact, as you saw, it's the first time since 1976 that all 3 titles have been fought for in one contest. As well as Lewis and Williams, there's an intriguing contest for the Commonwealth Bantamweight title. First up, Lennox Lewis. We know all about him, the British and European champion. He can be devastating. Remember Tyrrell Biggs? Well, he's up against Derek Williams, the Commonwealth champion. Sweet D. I wonder what he'll bring to the dance tonight for Lewis. First up will be Ndabe Dube against Johnny Armour for the vacant Commonwealth Bantamweight title. Could be an upset there. All that on ringside. There you go, Lennox Lewis v Derek Williams. 12 3-minute rounds for the British, European and Commonwealth heavyweight titles. Johnny Armour against Ndabe Dube for the vacant Commonwealth Bantamweight title. With me here tonight in this most magnificent auditorium to witness what promises to be a tremendous heavyweight clash is my regular sparring partner, not literally, Gary Mason. Gary, this place must have a few memories for you, mate.
Well, this is my favourite venue. This is where it all started for me. This is where I won the British title. This is where I had my eye injury.
And here we are tonight.
Yes.
First up, I just want to go through a few things. I mean, you stated publicly last week about Frank Bruno. We know what happened. I mean, these were the headlines in the papers. Do you still hold the same opinion?
Oh, I hold the same opinion 100%. But do you notice the funny thing about it is what happened the next day in the press? Lennox Lewis actually said on that he could knock Frank Bruno out in 3 rounds. But instead of Frank Bruno saying something about Lennox Lewis, he chose to complain about what I said.
Well, there you go. You can't win them all. What about you, Bank? I mean, you knocked out Jarvis in 3 on Saturday. Brief comment?
You can't complain. They didn't say the opponent was anything. Chris Eubank did the job he should have done.
That's right, absolutely right. So I think we'll fight then. And the WBC featherweight champion, Paul Hodgkinson. Good victory for him?
Yes, again, Paul Hodgkinson, he also did a job that he should have done.
Well, we congratulate him. We'll talk more about Lewis Williams later. If you're a regular viewer to ringside, and if not, why not, you would know that we were due to bring you Johnny Nelson's challenge for the World Cruiserweight title. Well, unfortunately, that won't happen now. And for more information, here's Paul Dempsey, who'll be reporting for us throughout the night with the man himself, Johnny Nelson. Paul, sounds like quite a story.
Evening, Gary. Hello, everybody. Quite a story. This man is getting into the Guinness Book of Records for the most postponed fight in the history of the game. But, Johnny, it's going to happen. What happened at the airport?
Well, unfortunately, they brought out a new ruling through immigration, whereas you need a green card and a visa as well to get through to fight. They class it as a job. So they sent me back within a space of 24 hours. And people started calling me Alan Wicker when I got back. It was serious. Unbelievable.
You're having a lot of hassle about getting this on with Warren, but you do want him, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I definitely want it. I've been training all year. I've not fought for 14 months. And people are asking me, will ring rust affect you at all? It never affects me. And I fight as though I'm going to fight every day of the week.
Just remind us finally when it's on.
16th of May, Fredericksburg, Virginia.
And it's going to be live on Sky, of course. We're all good wishes for you. and we'll see you in the ring on that date, the 16th. Thanks, John.
Thanks a lot.
Well, no visa trouble here. You don't need a visa to get into this place, and it won't be long now before Lennox Lewis and Derek Williams will be battling it out in that ring just behind me. On paper, it looks to be an intriguing contest, and the pre-fight build-up has certainly captured the atmosphere that surrounds this fight.
Lennox Lewis is the British and European heavyweight champion. Derek Williams is the Commonwealth heavyweight champion. At the various pre-fight press conferences, there's been plenty of hype, but there's plenty of respect between both boxers.
I think Lennox is a good fighter, and no one really knows the outcome of this fight. No matter what you guys say, you can write things, and what you'd like him to do, and hope, pray, but on the night it's going to be a totally different thing. I can promise you that.
Lennox's training for this fight has gone well. Outrageous pre-fight predictions are not in this man's nature. He is the model professional and sees his fight against Williams as just another hurdle on the way to the heavyweight crown.
I see myself visualizing the fight all the time, with of course me winning. And, you know, that'll go all the way up to the fight tonight.
Williams has spent a large proportion of his purse in getting the legendary Angelo Dundee in his camp. But has Ali's old trainer got him in shape for this fight?
He's ready. I mean, he's in good condition. Because if a fighter isn't ready 3 or 4 days for the fight, God can't help him. He's ready. He's ready to fight. I think he has the talent, the technique to beat Lennox Lewis. And not saying anything derogatory about Lennox Lewis. I don't think Lennox has the tools that Derek Williams has.
Well, from the old to the relatively young, and the new man in the Lewis camp is Pepe Correa. He is the former trainer of the legendary Sugar Ray Leonard, and he certainly has no doubts as to the ability of his young charge.
This man is the next heavyweight champion in the world, and the first one for this country. So eat it up and repeat it when he wins a championship. This man is the next heavyweight champion in the world when he gets his shot.
Strong words indeed, and the bookmakers certainly echo that. But as for Williams, he's sure he can turn the tables on Lewis.
Get used to the name Derek Sweetly Williams, because that's going to be the new name on the public's tongue, the tongue, and tip of everyone's tongue is going to be Derek is the man.
Lennox is being groomed for the very top. In his own mind, there is no doubt whatsoever as to the outcome of this contest.
I don't see the fight going the distance with Williams, but he is a survivor and he's never been knocked out before, so I hope to be the first one to knock him out.
Well, you saw there what Lennox Lewis thinks will happen. Time now to introduce your big fight commentators for the night with their opinions. Glenn McCrory, a former Lewis opponent, and I won't remind you what happened. Well, he's with Ian Darke. Any predictions from you, Ian?
Well, I'm going to go for Lewis. I spent half an hour on the phone, you know, last night with Angelo Dundee, and he was trying to convince me that Derek Williams is going to cause the big sensation here, but I can't see it. I think Lennox Lewis has got too much class, he'll have too much power as well, and I think he's going to wipe Williams from his path and move a step nearer that world heavyweight title. What about you, Glenn?
Well, I agree with you. I think it is going to be a Lewis victory, but it is going to be interesting to see how Lewis handles a guy who is, you know, equally as big, if not bigger, in Derek Williams. And I think Derek Williams might spoil a little bit in this fight, and it might go into the later or even a points victory.
Well, it's Lennox Lewis from him, it's Lennox Lewis from me as well, and by the way, Gary, we like the tie, but you've won the bet now, you can take it off.
Nothing Mickey Mouse about me, mate. As I said, not long to go now before the main event. But first up tonight, Britain's Johnny Armour in his clash for the vacant Commonwealth Bantamweight title. Don't go away, that's next up after the break. Welcome back, you're watching Ringside on Sky Sports. We're here for Lennox Lewis and Derek Williams. And we should be able to see Derek Williams in a moment. He's in his dressing room, there he is, with the legendary trainer Angelo Dundee. I wonder what must be going through his mind. He must be tense, he must be nervous, but he's had a calm head all week, so he knows what he's got to do. We'll see what happens later on tonight. Gary, what will be going through his mind? He's sitting in the dressing room there, just sort of putting the gloves on.
Derek's going to be very nervous. It's the first time he's actually been in a fight that's been so hyped for Derek. and he's always been one that's always lacked a bit of conviction. And I think all that will be coming to the front of his mind now, because it's on, it's real now. This is a time where there's no bottling out.
Not long to go now. Well, the big fight to come. Right now, that clash for the vacant Commonwealth Bantamweight title. Waiting in the wings should be Johnny Armour. I wonder how he's feeling. Quite a tough opponent in his way. Let's go over to your commentators. I mentioned Glenn McCrory and our own Ian Darke.
Thank you very much indeed. Nervous moments too backstage for Johnny Armour. From Chatham in Kent, Bobby Neal leading him out there as he challenges in only his 8th professional fight for the Commonwealth Bantamweight Championship at 8 stone and 6 pounds, and he's up against one of those African mystery men, Ndabe Dube, who, as far as we can trace, is unbeaten in 11 contests and maybe rather better than some of the Zimbabwean imports we've seen here recently. But Johnny Armour's done nothing wrong so far, unbeaten in 7 contests, but I don't think he's even seen a video of this guy, Dube, so he's going to find it all out when he gets in the ring, Glenn.
It certainly is, and that's going to be quite difficult for him. It's very hard going to a big fight, especially when it's just your 8th fight. So, these are very tense moments for him, and he doesn't know the quality of opposition in the corner. The guy could be an absolute world beater or might fail miserably. But he doesn't know, so obviously there's a lot of pressure in his mind.
Johnny Armour, who has several nicknames. He was called the Angel, and he's called in the programme the Babyface Assassin, which I think is probably news to him. He doesn't like the nickname as much. Dube, meanwhile, has got into the ring in the other corner, and they'll have to glove up before the fight. And look here at Ndabe Dube, the 33-year-old man from Zimbabwe, saying a silent prayer in the hope that he can take the Commonwealth Championship belt home with him this evening. So, while we wait for the two fighters to glove up, let's just have a look at the two men who face each other here tonight for this Commonwealth Bantamweight Championship.
Fights, 7 wins, 4 knockouts, 23 years of age. However, he could have his hands full tonight with this man, Ndabe Dube from Zimbabwe, one of the country's best ever amateur boxers. He was the 1984 Olympic quarter-finalist at Bantamweight. 31 years of age, 11 fights, 11 wins and 10 knockouts. Could there be an upset on the card tonight?
Yeah. Well, there's Johnny Armour. He's a southpaw, by the way. That is, he leads with the right. He's from the Frank Maloney stable. Neat boxer, but he does have a problem with cuts, and I know that they're particularly worried about that. And once a fighter cuts in one fight, of course, he tends to cut in several others as well, Glenn.
That's true. It's an obvious problem. And, the name Babyface, I mean, that can be very hard for me. That is why he's got it, because he cuts quite badly. And already in his 7th fight, he's had a couple of bad cuts, so there will be a bit of scar tissue there, and that can reoccur every now and again, and that's a terrible worry when you get cut in a fight.
Now, if you're wondering why we've got a little delay before the fight, it's because the two fighters, championship rules at Commonwealth titles, that they glove up inside the ring. The referee for this one will be Dave Paris, very experienced official, and he'll be one of the judges later when Lennox Lewis fights Derek Williams. The Royal Albert Hall, as Gary Mason was telling you earlier on, for my money and for several other ringsiders, is the very best arena in the whole of Britain. I don't know what you think about that, Glenn. It's a great atmosphere in here when it's full, isn't it?
I think it is a fabulous arena. It doesn't got very good memories for me, as you remember, but it is a spectacular arena.
There it is, the tiered balconies, and we'll get the introductions now from Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. On behalf of Frank Maloney for Championship Enterprises, welcome to an evening of championship boxing live on Sky Sport from the Royal Albert Hall in London. Tonight we are sponsored by Pony International. Your first contest this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is a bantamweight contest of 12 3-minute rounds to decide the vacant Bantamweight Championship of the Commonwealth. Between introducing in the blue corner, wearing the green trunks from Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, Ndabe Dube. And in the red corner, wearing the white trunks from Chatham, Johnny Armour.
Backs of support for Johnny Armour here.
At the weigh-in today, Armour scaled 8 stone 3 1/4 pounds, Dube 8 stone 3 3/4 pounds. Your officials for this contest, appointed by the British Boxing Board of Control, the timekeeper, Mr. Tom Rice, the referee, Mr. Dave Parris.
So we're all set to go, and it's very, very early in the career of Johnny Armour, who was ABA flyweight champion in 1990 at the 5th attempt to try and win his first professional title. He's gone full-time, hoping to break into some bigger money, but I have to tell you that last year he made only £6,000, according to his own camp, out of boxing. Well, looking to go into the big league tonight. Southpaw leading with the right, Johnny Armour, and as you can see, Dube boxing out of the orthodox style. Armour first to land with that neat southpaw jab of his, and he seemed to find the range straight away. It'd be interesting to see what he makes of this African who, well, as they say in horse racing, could be anything.
That's right. Armour's going to want to stamp his authority early in this fight. Obviously, his confidence will grow if he can do that. And he came out there and led straight with a jab, and it connected. And he's forcing the fight. He's walking forward, so that's a good sign from him.
Johnny Armour, 23 years of age, and Dube, 11 years his senior. And he spent a long time as an amateur. He didn't turn pro until he was 30 years of age, and that's because the government wanted him to keep on trying for Olympic medals. And indeed, as Gary Norman was telling you, he was an Olympic quarter-finalist back in 1984, and you've got to be pretty good to get to that stage of the Olympics. Good sharp right landed from Dube there.
It's going to be interesting to see how Dube has progressed into the professional ranks after spending so long in the amateurs. Obviously, there is a big difference between professional and amateur boxing. And already he's boxing off the back foot, and he's trying to pick and move, and you know, he's still boxing a little bit like an amateur.
Well, not too many signs of these two just feeling their way into the contest. They've let go and both landed with some decent shots to the head in this opening round. And first impressions are that they look quite evenly matched.
Armour's having some success with his left hand. He's using it there both to the head and the body, and he's having a fair bit of success. But Dube he's countering nice, he's moving away, and he's picking with his own right hand.
Both of the fighters looking in tremendous physical shape, as you'd expect, fighting for a title like this. There's good punches from Armour. He's got him with some good left hooks to the body in this round, and the left to the head as well. But Dube, quite clearly, is no mug. Armour doesn't have the reputation of being a big puncher. He's quite content when he has to pound out his wins over the full distance, and the full distance here, just to remind you, is 12 rounds. One of the big questions is, will his face and the scar tissue stand up to that? He got caught on the counter there. Interesting opening round.
It was a very good first round, and Armour did very well. He forced the fight. It's the sort of thing that he's got to do. It's his first major championship. He wants to, you know, put his authority on the bout to get the confidence that he needs. And I think he's done that in the first round. He did very well.
There's his record. Unbeaten in 7 contests. He's won 4 of them inside the distance. He's been a professional for 19 months, and he survived 1 or 2 scares with those cuts I was telling you about in previous encounters. Here's Ndabe Dube in the other corner. Very good amateur and national champion of Zimbabwe, but 33 years of age, is getting pretty old, especially at these lighter weights.
He is. It's very difficult to him to really get into the professional ranks at 33 as a light man, and especially with a long career in the amateurs behind him.
Johnny Armour has brought a lot of fans with him, and they've been making quite a bit of noise towards the back of the hall. Wasn't too much in that opening round at all. Armour is forcing the pace. He's taking the fight to Dube. Of course, what he's got to be careful of is being caught with dangerous counters. Has happened once or twice already.
That's right, and that looks the type of thing that Dube is trying to do. He's moving around well, he's throwing a nice left jab, and he's trying to counter him just with nice sharp shots. And Armour's got to be careful, you know, that he doesn't take too many, that the eyes don't flare up and get cut again. He took a good right hand there.
He's quite prepared to brawl it here with Dube, letting go with the hooks. Dube showing all his experience. He doesn't look overawed on his first visit to Britain at all. But Armour, lots of pressure for him, and he's got to be careful he doesn't leave himself open to one sucker punch. Good little fight so far, though, Glenn.
It is. It's very lively. Both men have went about the work very well. And Armour is keeping up the pressure. And I think, you know, really he needs to do that. He needs to keep moving his head and not get caught by them counters. But he needs to keep the pressure on.
Don't know if it's the light at the Royal Albert Hall, but there seems to be some kind of little nick underneath the left eye of Dube. He's quite good at picking his punches, the African. Ooh, the head's coming dangerously close together there, and Armour will have to watch that with his record of cuts opening up. The left hand getting home from Armour, but those insistent jabs from Dube. Oh, and the right hand over the top too. And once again. A tremendous battle of wills out there. Armour trying to impress himself on this African, but Dube just will not give ground and staying with him.
Both men are going at it right from the start. And it is warming up into a cracking little fight. Dube is coming back with some nice counters.
Coming up towards the end of round two, and we could be witnessing a little mini classic here. All the signs that this might be a very good battle indeed for the Commonwealth Championship.
This is where
Third round for the Commonwealth Bantamweight Championship. Johnny Armour in the white trunks here up against Ndabe Dube from Zimbabwe. And regrettably for Armour, this is one fighter from Zimbabwe who really does look as if he can fight. It's been pretty even so far. But this African looks a proud and hard fighter to me, Glenn.
He certainly looks like he's come to fight. He's come, you know, trying to take that Commonwealth title back. And he's doing some nice boxing. He's moving around the ring nice. He's got a good jab, and he has a nice sharp counter with that right hand. And Armour's got to be very careful of that, because that's the sort of shot that can open cuts.
Reach advantage too for Dube. You can see he's the taller man by 2 or 3 inches here. And that means that Armour often has to try to get inside to land his blows. He has to get into the danger zone, and he's getting caught like that with counters on the way in. Armour being picked off by those right hands from an increasingly confident-looking Dube in this third round.
Dube is starting to find his range a little better with the jab and the right hand. And Armour's having a little bit more trouble getting inside. I think he just needs to throw a few more shots. He's waiting with Dube on the way in, and he needs to be a little bit busier. Move that head and throw a little few more shots.
Well, Johnny Armour's camp, they knew that this was a gamble. It was a calculated gamble as far as they were concerned, to see if he could get himself a title and earn more. He's got through with a good left, but on the way in all the time, he's being tagged with some quite decent shots from Dube. Ndabe Dube, who's betting to become the first man from Zimbabwe to win this title. It's just a slightly more worried and bemused look about Armour than there was in the first minute or so of the contest too.
That's right. He's certainly doing less work. I think maybe he's just getting a little bit frustrated with Dube's jab.
Here it is again. That jab poking out once, twice. And of course, those are the punches that just add up in the referee's scorecard. Quite hard work in there for Johnny Armour at the moment. He needs to just change the pattern a little if he can. For the Commonwealth Championship at 8 stone, 6 pounds, Bantamweight. Of course, we have a world champion at this weight in Duke McKenzie. Here's Dube in the green trunks doing, for my money, the better work in that third round. And Glenn McCrory, just looking at his scorecard, scored it the same. We have Dube leading us by 2 rounds to 1 at the moment. This is round 4. What has Johnny Armour, do you think, got to do here to try and change things around a little, Glenn?
I think he's having a little bit of trouble because Dube is a taller opponent. He's using the jab very well, and he's come back with that counter with the right hand. And Armour really needs to cut the distance down, get his feet closer in the distance, and throw more shots. He's given Dube the time to get his jab off, and he can't really do that. He's got to keep on him, keep the pressure on him, and keep moving that head.
I think the corner, Bobby Neal in there, who's an experienced man, of course. Once handled Lloyd Hunnigan when he was world welterweight champion. I think he might have told him that he's somehow just got to find a new pattern here somehow, Armour. He was being picked off on the way in and will have to be just a wee bit more cautious, I think. Pick his punches more and try to be a bit more elusive. And he's managing to do that rather more in the opening 40 seconds of this round.
I think it's quite apparent now that Dube seems to have a little bit more confidence. He's a little bit more happier to stand his ground and also go forward, which in the first round he wasn't doing.
There seemed to be a nick under the left eye of Armour. He has got one of those cuts that face that cuts up a bit. Oh, and he's tagged there a little bit. It looked like half slip, and he's back on his feet again. And the referee says box on. There's a bit of blood coming from his nose as well. Oh, he's caught the big right there, Armour. That's trouble for him. That shook him up all right. Bravely, he comes forward and starts slugging back at Dube. But that right hand was the best punch of the contest so far from Ndabe Dube.
It was a good shot, and it certainly rocked Armour. And he's in all kinds of trouble now. He's bleeding from the nose. He's just took a good shot. This is when Armour needs to pull out something special and hurt Dube.
Dube seems to be in control of things at the moment. There's just a little hint of desperation about some of Armour's work, but there's no questioning his courage. Came back from taking that right hand with an attacking blitz of his own. Grain, excellent counter-punching from Dube. 4 rock-solid punches to the head. He's a man who claims to have stopped 10 of his 11 victims to date, and maybe it's no false claim either. He does seem to carry a bit of a wallop.
Well, he's just starting to put his shots together now. He's starting to throw a few flurries of shots, and Armour's getting tagged on the tail end of them.
It's a confident look about the African as the bell goes to end the fourth round. It was a bad round for Armour, and you can see the blood flowing from his nose. That won't be too much of a problem for him. It's the eye damage that fighters really worry about. It's a bit unsightly, but there was a really good punch in this fourth round, Glenn. The right hand, I think we can take another look at that here.
This is where it comes in. Armour's just trying to get a few shots. He stands around again and bang with a big looping right hand. And that seems to be Armour's biggest problem in the minute. He's just standing around a little bit too much. He's leaving his head exposed, and he's just there when Dube wants to get him.
There it is again. Look at it. He buckled his knees. He did well, really, to stay on his feet from that.
He did very well. And he came back from that quite good. You know, he was very busy. He threw shots.
10 seconds, corners.
Well, they've done a good job there in the corner for the moment, patching up those little nicks and grazes, and they're only that at the moment. It's nothing serious, the facial damage for Johnny Armour, but he is trailing at the moment, and he's finding it difficult here, particularly with the reach disadvantage as well. And he's up against a good fighter in this man from Zimbabwe.
I think if I was in Armour's corner, I would tell him to go out and try his best to have a good round. He really needs to get a good round in the bag just to stop the African getting more and more confident.
Armour, if he can, wants to try and slip some of those jabs too that Dube keeps throwing and pumping into his face all night. Ndabe Dube, who is a Zimbabwe army officer when he's not boxing. And again, he gets in there with some hurtful-looking body shots too. And Armour, again, the referee rules that to be a slip, I think it was, and that's another crashing right into his head.
Even though that was a slip, again, the African will be getting more and more confidence.
Armour, at least at the moment, is not charging in and making himself an open target. He's trying to find his way, but again, look at that counter-punching. This man from Zimbabwe, he's the best I've seen from that country, which isn't saying a lot because we've seen some really hapless, modest opposition from Zimbabwe, and Johnny Armour must have wished that this was another one. I bet they wish they'd seen a video of him now because they might not have taken the fight if they had.
Well, it's certain Dube can fight, and it's certain that his amateur experience has certainly paid off. He has a tremendous jab and he's a very good counter-puncher. And Armour's walking into all kinds of trouble when he's coming forward.
Don't forget, still to come, the heavyweight showdown between Lennox Lewis and Derek Williams live here on Sky Sports. This is the Commonwealth Bantamweight Championship fight with Chatham's Johnny Armour in the white trunks here. Up against it, against Ndabe Dube, who'll be 34 this year, the man from Zimbabwe. See the countdown towards the end of the round. Again, good ramrod jabs from Dube, crashing into the face of Armour, and you can see his face cutting up again there. The blood splattered on his shorts. It is not a pretty sight, and he needs something quite spectacular now, I would say. Welcome back. There's Ndabe Dube, where we've had some exotically named Zimbabwean fighters like Jukebox Time Bomb, Captain Marvel, Bonyongo Destroyer, and even one Newbirth Nukoski here lately. And none of them have been very good, unfortunately for Johnny Armour, as they go into the 6th round of this Commonwealth title fight. And Ndabe Dube is an entirely different proposition. Still coming forward, Armour. He's landing with some decent shots of his own, but all the time he's being countered by this African.
Yes, I mean, we've got to give credit to Armour. He's out there and he's really trying. And at the minute, he's just getting picked off by Dube. And he needs to do, he needs to get something solid that will put him back in the fight.
must say I've been quite impressed with Dube. He's hardly missed with a punch all night. His economy's been excellent, and they've been good, meaty shots as well. And he punches in clusters when he has to. It's very early, of course, for Johnny Armour to be pitched in at championship level. And there's the punch profile of the 5th round. You can see that Dube a much higher percentage of punches landed, 64 to 35. I think that tells its own story, Glenn.
Yes, and I think that at the minute is Armour's problem. He's just standing around a little bit too often, looking at the jab, and being allowed to counter like you see there. He needs to get his feet in the distance, throw a little more shots, not take the jab, and put some shots on target. But at the minute, credit to Dube, he's not allowing Armour to do that.
He's just being outboxed, Armour, a little. That's a good left hook from him there, though. And Dube won't want to take too many of those. That's what Armour needs, a few of those. This is better from him. And look at him here trying to brawl and rough up the African. He's quite prepared by the look of it to take a few on the way in if he can land some more of those. And I guess that's his only way back into the contest, really.
It is. He's got to keep the pressure on. There was a couple of good shots he caught Dube with. And he's got to keep the pressure on, try and get the initiative in this round.
Of course, one factor in this fight, with Dube being 33, is might he run out of gas? It's a possibility. It might be clutching at straws, of course.
He could do that, being 33. And also, he's been in the amateurs a long time, so he probably hasn't done that many rounds as a professional.
Dube slipping over there. This seemed to be quite a slippy kind of ring, this. That's the 3rd time we've had a slip. Johnny Armour, so aggressive, so brave, but his face, I must say, has stood up quite well so far. It's been jab, jab, jab all night long into that head of Johnny Armour, but no eye damage so far. Again, putting the pressure on Dube, who looks slightly more worried and less in control in this round. This is one of Johnny Armour's best little periods of the fight, I'd say. He's come back well in this round.
He has. That's certainly a better round for him. Just needs to keep the pressure on.
Johnny Armour's best round for some time, that one. Well, they're coming into the second half of this Commonwealth Bantamweight Championship fight. We have Ndabe Dube of Zimbabwe well ahead of Kent's Johnny Armour at the moment, but the 6th round was more encouraging from Armour's point of view. If he can score with a few more of the kind of left hooks he was landing in the 6th round, well, maybe there's something still for him tonight. What do you think, Glenn?
I think you're right. Certainly he'll have gotten a little bit more confidence from that round. Seeing Dube go back and also seeing him go on the floor, although it wasn't a punch, it was a slip. Just seeing him go down will have given him a little bit of confidence, and hopefully he can step the pressure up, keeping the distance and avoid that left jab, which has given so much trouble tonight.
He's just got to be a little bit careful on the way in, Armour. If he can slip the jab and then land with his left hook, that would be so much the better for him, instead of eating the jab, as they say in the trade, all night. Same pattern, Armour going forward all the time, taking the fight to the man from Africa. There's a punch profile of the 6th round. Again, Dube with the higher percentage, but as you can see, Armour did better in that 6th round. The percentage of punches Armour landed with in that 6th round was almost twice as many as he did in the one before. So those are quite interesting statistics, aren't they?
Well, it was a better round for him. But again, he hasn't got to let Dube get back in the fight this round. He's got to keep the pressure on. He's got the initiative a little bit in the 6th round. Keep the pressure on and follow it through.
Doesn't want to take too many like that, Armour. Got him with his own right, but had to take one back, Armour. Armour putting on the pressure here, quite prepared to walk through walls if he has to, in search of this title tonight. It's been a very, very brave performance from him.
Well, he's certainly still in the fight. He's certainly, he's got a fight in his hands, but he's certainly there. He's just got to get past that left jab.
And we're getting into the period of the contest as well now, where it really is a question of who wants it the most, and you can see here that Johnny Armour wants it a lot. But he is finding it hard to cope with the technical skills of Dube.
He's just hanging around a little bit, you know, having an extra look at Dube. But he needs to move the head and throw.
Good little left hook come crossing there from Dube, and a right to the body as well. See, he makes Armour miss a little bit more and then counters, which is really, put in very basic terms, what it's all about. Don't get hit and hit the other fellow.
Yeah, Dube's doing well, much better this round. He got the centre of the ring and started letting the shots go. Nice and sharp jabs were landing constantly, and coming back with some very good counters with the right hand and the left hook.
Well, don't forget the big fight tonight, Lennox Lewis against Derek Williams, and there is Lennox Lewis. Important for fighters to warm up beforehand. Nervy moments for any fighter. Lennox Lewis in his dressing room. He's due in the ring in about half an hour from now, and you'll see it live right here on Sky Sports. Lennox Lewis ranked in the top 4 in the world by all the major governing bodies, and within sight of a shot at the title. Pepe Correa, his new trainer there in the background with the glasses on, just looking on over his charge. Looks confident, doesn't he?
He looks well. And you know, if he's not confident now, he never will be.
20 fights unbeaten, of course, Lennox Lewis. 19, I should say, bidding to make it 20 tonight. Coming out for the 8th round. And Johnny Armour, at the moment, well behind on our scorecards, Glenn and I at ringside, despite quite a good rally in the 6th round, which he didn't quite build on in the 7th.
Yes, Dube he's certainly winning the fight. He's outboxing him with his slicker boxing. He's got a very good left jab and a counter right. And really, Armour, if he's going to swing this fight around, needs to get up there and start letting some shots go. There's still plenty of time for him to do it, but he needs to get to work now.
Of course, it's the scorecard of referee Dave Parris that matters most, and it's often reckoned that fighters fighting away from home don't get done too many favours, but in Britain, I don't know so much. Jeff Harding picking up a split decision against our own Dennis Andries for the light heavyweight title. We're scrupulously fair here. There's the punch profile. Armour landing with the higher percentage of punches according to our computer printouts, which are quite revealing. Armour putting on the pressure here, Dube covering up, and Armour just hoping that this constant pressure will somehow break this resilient African.
That was better work for Armour, but again, he's got to keep it on and keep it on. If he wants his title, he's got to go out there and take it.
Yes, he's got to keep on just throwing punches and hoping somehow that Dube will crumble. He throws 3 or 4 and then he stands up again.
Then he stands up and allows Dube to get, you know, take the center of the ring and use that jab. And it's such a good weapon.
Yeah, once they're out in centre ring, Dube always looks in control of things. I think if Armour could trap him in one of the corners and then start letting go, well, maybe, and only maybe, it might be a little bit different. Look at that jab again. It rocked Armour's head back right onto his shoulders.
He's a very well-schooled. I mean, you can see, you know, how good he's been as an amateur, because that's obviously seen him through a lot of contests as an amateur, that left jab. Armour landed with a good left of his own there. Just seemed to stop Dube in his tracks for a second, but he's back resuming it with the left jab.
Landed with some good punches, Johnny Armour, in this contest. There's no doubt about that. Some decent left hooks, but he looks durable as well, Dube.
He does. You can never really tell from his face. He's never showed much expression towards the whole fight, whether he's been dishing it out or taking it. You know, he just tries to get in the center of the ring and get that left jab going and take control of the fight again.
Doesn't look quite so sprightly on his legs as he did earlier on, Dube. I think that left hook he took earlier in the round from Armour just hurt him a little bit.
Of
Johnny Armour. The corner have done a good job to stop any of those cuts worsening. They seem to have stemmed the flow of blood from the nose. There was a bit of a nick under the left eye as well, but Bobby Neal and the team have done excellently in the corner. That's not going to be a problem. More of a problem is the points deficit we think that Armour is facing here against Zimbabwe's experienced Ndabe Dube.
Yeah, his big problem for Armour is getting past that jab. You know, obviously the corners are telling him what to do, but it's very hard out there when you've got a man as range as that, who's very fast, you know, a very good counter puncher. How do you get past that jab?
Nice loose-limbed way about him, this African. Looks nice and relaxed. Armour gets through with the left again, then the body shot. That's better, and Dube wants to cover up for a moment with the gloves held high.
Dube, he gets composure again so quickly. You know, if Armour throws a couple of shots and has a bit of success, quickly Dube can turn, get in the centre of the ring, and regain composure with that jab. He doesn't seem to get flustered very easily.
Again, a good body shot from Armour. He's caught with an uppercut himself, but he's quite happy to trade. Again, the left hook which just rocked him back on his heels a bit, Armour. He's having to gamble. He's having to take risks. Oh, again, a crashing right uppercut. He's coming off worst here, Armour. Digging so deep. This is the stage of a fight where if a fighter hasn't prepared properly, he'll know all about it.
Certainly will. And he is showing an awful lot of character, Armour.
There's a bit of blood under the right eye of Dube, by the look of things. Harder to tell against his black skin. Maybe we'll have a closer look at that in the corner a bit later on. Same story, really. Armour, here he is again. Gets through with a couple. The danger is getting caught with counters. But my goodness me, if Spirit won titles and commitment, Armour would already be the champion.
Well, it's very rarely he's took a backward step. He's went forward all the time, but constantly, you know, he's walked into that left hand.
Three good punches from Armour. But, a heftier looking right coming back from Dube.
As you said earlier in the last round, Dube is beginning to look a little bit tired. You know, he seems to be just flagging a little bit, just getting a little bit lazy, moving away.
You just wonder whether Johnny Armour's pressure can somehow produce a sting in the tail in this Commonwealth Championship fight. Probably most famous fight arena, the Royal Albert Hall. Lennox Lewis v Derek Williams to come with 3 heavyweight titles on the line. This is the 10th round for the Commonwealth Bantamweight Championship. Johnny Armour in the white trunks. Behind on our scorecard still against Ndabe Dube of Zimbabwe. I've got Dube 3 points or 3 rounds ahead at this stage, which means that Armour needs these last 3 rounds if my scorecard's anything like correct. How are you seeing it, Glenn?
Well, I'm seeing very much the same sort of fight. Armour has got a bit to do, but it's still in the realms of possibility. He just needs to put the pressure on and try and wear him down. The African has begun to look a little bit tired in the last couple of rounds, but he's still managing to keep that good old weapon out, that left jab.
Now Johnny Armour is 11 years younger. Will that be in his favour over these closing stages? Dube doesn't seem to have quite as much sharpness about him now, or zing. Can Armour just wear him down? It'll be some triumph if he manages to pull it off, but he has plenty of work still to do here.
He's looking a little more desperate, the African. He's starting to trade a little bit, to try and throw some hooks and get a little bit close, and yet he doesn't seem to have the snap to carry that off. His jab's falling short now, so with a good right hand there.
Turned by that Armour, that right hand, and look how he comes forward, he slips over there, Dube. It was only a slip. Armour was in a a spot of trouble. It was opportune that he did slip at that moment because he was looking to close in on the man from Kent. Armour looks a bit disorganised, but look at the way he comes back again.
I think both men got caught with good little shots in that exchange. It really has been a very good fight.
Showing tremendous fire, Johnny Armour here. You couldn't really have done much more. He's tried everything he knows, but does he know quite enough? It begins to look like the answer to that might be no, unless Dube really ties up and collapses down the home straight.
I think of that exchange, Armour probably got hurt the most because he's just shut up shop a little bit. He's gone a little bit quiet.
Still finds the occasional good left hook, finding in little bursts, Armour. Man who gave up his job as a roofer and scaffolder to concentrate full-time on boxing. Hasn't found any money so far, and his manager, Frank Maloney, was saying if this fellow makes it, it'll be a real little rocky story because he comes from an area of high unemployment and goes back to his corner at the end of that round. Meanwhile, backstage here at the Royal Albert Hall in one of the dressing rooms, no doubt frequented by all those mega rock stars, there is Derek Sweet D. Williams. He looks pensive, Glenn.
He does. He looks... I mean, these are very hard moments just before you get ready to go in. Angelo's just finishing off his taping up.
Just taping up the hands. All fighters need to protect their hands, of course, otherwise there'll be real problems, as Lloyd Hunnigan's found in the past. There's some action from this last round. There, Armour was caught by a right and a slip from Dube. It was no more than that. 2 rounds left in this fight, and well, it's getting to the stage where, looking at the ringside scorecards, not that any of them will count, only referee Dave Parris as well, looking at them, it looks as if Johnny Armour will need the knockout here. And well, there's some water spilt in the corner, and you've seen fighters lose their balance and slip over on that kind of thing before. It can be a real problem, that. And they've mopped it up. How well they've mopped it up, I'm not sure, but out they come for the 11th round. Dube, of course, in the green trunks. If you hadn't cottoned on by now, I'm sure you had.
Yes, Armour's certainly got a little bit to do now. It doesn't look like he can win it on points. He's got to stop his man. But he's got 2 rounds to do it in. He's got to go to work, and he's got to really just let everything go and throw some shots like he's doing now.
This is better from Armour. 6 or 7 there reining in, and Dube's going backwards and doesn't look quite so steady. Just for the moment, is that an illusion, though? A left driving him back on the ropes. Armour gets him with some good body punches, and a left as well, and that shook Dube out. Well, are we going to have some drama here now? Armour can see a little light appearing. What he needs to do now is to pour on the pressure.
It's good stuff from Armour, but he's got to keep it up. He's got to keep it up. He hasn't got to let Dube get back in the fight as he's trying to do. He's just got to keep the pressure on, keep the pressure on.
And you've no doubt about it, as Armour got home with those punches, he was really blinking and looking a little bewildered, Dube. He seems to have got over the crisis, but those were much better moments for Armour, and they suggest that this fight is far from over yet.
Well, Armour did the thing that he should have done in the middle of the fight, and that was get really close and throw lots more shots. And he did that in the early part of the round. He got a lot of success. But now he's standing back, trying to admire his work, and that's allowing Dube to get back on the jab.
And again, Miles in with the left. Dube's come back quite well. Getting his gloves up a little bit better at times, Armour, blocking 1 or 2 of the jabs. That's something they need to work on with him in the gym. There's no question of that. He needs to tighten up his defence. Oh, that was another right he gets caught with, and he just takes it, though. And Dube sees all these punches going in that he's been landing all night, and Armour still keeps coming forward. He's a little tank, isn't he?
He's a very tough boy. He's went forward throughout the fight. You know, he's took his jabs, he took his right hands, and yet he's still continued on forward.
Well, I think even if Armour loses this fight, I don't think he's lost very much in defeat at 23 years of age. He's looked quite exciting. He's been in a good fight, and I think there'll always be some work for him, and he can come again. But this is some effort he's pulling out here. Dube came back well, but I reckon Armour did enough in the early stage of the round to win it. Johnny Armour. There they are in the corner, Bobby Neal and his team. Again, they're working away at the cuts. A little nick under the left eye, but his eyes have stood up well. This is the last round, the final 3 minutes, and the big crowd at the Royal Albert Hall. There's hardly a seat spare here. I've enjoyed this fight as well they might have done. It's been a fascinating battle and an interesting clash of styles for the Commonwealth Bantamweight Championship. It looks to us as if Johnny Armour hasn't quite done enough, but look at this finish from him here now. He really is letting the punches go. There's some performance. He's clawed his way back in these later rounds. And interesting to see and get a little sneak preview, wouldn't it, of referee Dave Parris's scorecard. I still have Dube in front here.
Yeah, I've still got Dube a few rounds in front. He's got a lot to do on Armour. I think there's no way he can do it on points. He's really got to give it all. Oh, beautiful shot.
He's got it there. Now, is it all going to finish here in the last round? Can Johnny Armour find the punch here to stop his man? He had Dube going again there. He did it in the 11th round. He's done it again in the 12th. And this is proving to be some fight. He's taken a lot of punches, Armour, but still he keeps coming forward. Still he's throwing out leather. And Ndabe Dube here, bravely he battles back as well. Armour here is just pulling out every single stop. He knows he needs this last round, and he's probably been told by the corner that he almost certainly needs to stop his man, because if it goes to points, Dube has probably done enough. Good right from him again. Fantastic rally from Armour, but did he punch himself out in it? Will he be left tired over the closing stages of the round? Seen that before, haven't we?
We certainly have. There was a great couple of punches from Armour, and he certainly hurt Dube. He's just got to lay it all on the line now and really let all the shots go.
Oh, and that was a punch while the referee was saying break. Armour didn't care, he just got straight back to work. Terrific final round. The big fight between Lennox Lewis and Derek Williams is anything as good as this. Well, we could be in for something quite special. The eye damage gets worse under Dube's left eye. He looks a tired fighter now, Dube.
I think both men are very tired. It's been a very difficult fight, very hard fight. He went at it throughout.
Dube is feeling every minute of his 33 years now. And he's holding Armour behind him. He's got him again. More punches raining in. He's in trouble here. The referee's taking a close look. And he stopped. Can you believe it? With only seconds to go. With 10 seconds to go. Johnny Armour stops his man. And that is a famous victory. You will rarely see anything as dramatic as that in a British ring. Johnny Armour from Chatham, against the odds, pulls out the stoppage finish with about 10 seconds to go, and he is the Commonwealth Bantamweight Championship. The face is wreathed in smiles, and no wonder. That is one of the best finishes I've ever seen, and I've been covering this sport now for 10, 12 years.
A fabulous victory. He just threw everything on the line, just kept punching and kept punching, and eventually it paid off, and Dube was out of it, and the referee jumped in. A fabulous win, and he'll be very, very happy. And I think that's, that's credit to his character and the fact that he kept plodding on and kept plodding on and just wouldn't take a defeat.
Here it is again. Let's have a look at this. There's Frank Maloney giving him the kiss. It all looked as if the game was up But this one final rally, look at this, he's broken him up and he's gone here, Dube.
A good left hand, but I think he was very, very tired, Dube. You know, Armour's constant pressure had obviously paid dividends, and he was definitely gone. His legs had gone. The referee did the right thing, stopping it.
Well, I wonder what Dube's corner will make of that. Will they complain that he could have got through somehow those final few seconds? Of course, the referee doesn't know how long there is to go. If he sees a fellow in trouble, his one concern has to be for the fighter's health. And it's like that controversial stoppage of the Maldrick-Taylor-Chavez fight with 2 seconds to go, but that wasn't so controversial. I think the referee was
That's right. I don't think there'll be any arguments.
9 seconds of the 12th and last round. The referee stops the contest. Dube being in no position to continue. The winner and new Bantamweight champion of the Commonwealth, Johnny Armour!
Fantastic win for Johnny Armour. Officially, there were 11 seconds to go when that stoppage came. He's having the belt put around his waist now. Great fight, that one, and still to come for the British, European and Commonwealth titles. Lennox Lewis against Derek Williams, of course. We're looking forward to that. There's Ndabe Dube in the other corner. Well, you feel sorry for him.
You've got to. He did so well. He boxed so well throughout. But I think his age probably told the tale at the end. And when Armour got on top, he didn't let him off. I don't think there'll be no arguments. Dube is still sitting on the seat. He's just risen off his seat. I think he was certainly shook up and hurt from that last barrage of punches.
In only his 8th professional fight, nobody's done it quicker in this division. Johnny Armour is the Commonwealth Bantamweight champion. Don't go away. Still to come, Lennox Lewis against Derek Williams for the British, European and Commonwealth heavyweight titles right after the break.
Welcome back, ringside live and exclusive from the Royal Albert Hall. Gary, what a tremendous first fight that was.
That was a classic fight and a classic performance by Johnny Armour. Johnny Armour, he comes from the St Mary's Amateur Boxing Club in Chatham, and they train all their fighters like that, and I think everybody in Chatham and everybody from the St Mary's can raise their glasses because they've created a champion.
There were times during the fight you were saying to me he should step it up a little bit more. Yeah. Now this is the end of the fight. There were times when he should have done what he did here.
Yes, Johnny in the last round, he just kept his man under constant pressure, whereas in some of the earlier rounds, he didn't keep the pressure up, but this time, he knew it was the last round, he had nothing to lose, he just went great guns, and to the end, his man went. And it was worse than that because we saw what you couldn't see on the camera, but he couldn't sit down for a very long time, could he? Because his legs wouldn't move, would they?
Completely right to stop it. So, after only 8 fights as a Commonwealth champion, what can he go?
Well, he's only got upwards to go. At least John can start earning money now and start like being a champion. He's like, it's been a bit hard for him, $6 grand in a year. That's not enough to keep anyone going. But now he's reaping the rewards, and good luck to Johnny.
Well, wish him all the best.